you could be closer to self-acceptance. That was the title of a Wilhelm message that I received last year on February 22nd. And so I'm talking about it this year because not all of us have accepted who we are. And that's the challenge that we will have, especially at this time in our world, which is why I've done all of this work. I put out something this morning from Wilhelm that said, nothing in your life or our world is happening accidentally. And we come to understand that because we do know that everything is energy. Or we come to know it and we start studying it, and at least that's what I did. And then you know that you can change things because you can gain control over your thoughts, over your consciousness. But then you need a way to do that. And I lived a life that gave me a way that you can do that. When I said the other day that this philosophy would change your life and our world, I know that that's true. Because the only difficulty that you would be experiencing is just not knowing who you are at this moment, or not having found a way to uncover what that is. And so it could cause you to have a lot of stress at this moment, and a lot of fear or uncertainty. But those things are really good too when you can embrace them, because that means you're going to another level of who you are meant to become. And that's the work that I've been doing. Now, I didn't know I was going to start out doing this work. And I'm saying that because you may be changing into things that you never knew or thought you would do. We are affected by changes of the universe, of energies, of the astronomy, of everything, of all of it, because we are all energy. But getting that connection and understanding it is something that happens over time. People figure it out. There have been many people who have come around and who have developed ways for us to operate and understand consciousness, and Wilhelm gave me a way as well. And that's what I'm talking about. And I'm talking about it today because I'm having this special this weekend, because we're moving into some more energetic changes, and you're going to want to come together and really know who you are and love yourself and be with those other like-minded individuals who might be on the same path as you. And that's what I'm doing, because I hid out from myself for so long. We can no longer do that. That's what that message last year was saying. You might be closer to self-acceptance, and the only difficulty that you will experience in your life is not accepting the next version of who you can become. Because you're never done with that either. As long as you're alive, there's more that you can do. I'm 74, and now I'm taking the next version of my life, and I'm finishing all of Wilhelm's work. Because, see, it's been 36 years, and when I first began with the program, I only put in 31 days of work. And that in itself transformed people in ways that I couldn't believe. Just really kind of freaked me out, actually. But now it's no more holding back, because I know who you are. Now, let me tell you what happened. I discovered that all the Wilhelm information I'd been receiving was aligned with the changes that were happening in our world. And the reason that I healed physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all those ways, was because I was receiving the information as it was connected. I couldn't have known that. You don't know what you have either, because it develops as you live. It's always out in front of you. But you were born to do something. You were born with a gift that was meant to develop, and it's probably urging you or pushing at you now to develop it. And that's what I'm doing, because we have to make energetic shifts. All the disruption, all the things that you're feeling in the world are people who are not willing to discover who they are and move to the next version of who they can become. That's all that's going on. So you will decide if you're going to do that, if you're going to stay in the same place, or if you're going to take the next version. And I know that's what I have to do, because this work, it was so important, and it kind of blew me away, and I also hid from it. I'm saying this because you will hide from things in yourself because you won't believe it, that what you can do. Then you start to understand it's a cognitive process that you will move through to understand your unique place in this world. And I know that it's there. When I started doing channeling in 2021, live channeling, because I was never going to do that before, or then started doing personal, private channeling, then I could see what was happening, I was accessing cosmic guidance because I believe everyone is connected to a greater beyond. Now, we may not call it the same thing, but I just know that every person has value. But then we go through periods in our world where we split in certain ways because we don't think everyone has that, and we move through evolutionary changes, which is what's happening now. Now, we couldn't have understood that the energies of the changing of the planets were causing some of that, but that's some of the work that I've developed and what Wilhelm had led me to understand. I started to understand why the United States was having so much turmoil, energetic shifts, and then how it's affecting the rest of the world. That's gone on forever, but we start to understand it. And what Wilhelm did was give me a plan that we could use at this time to move to the higher state of understanding of who we are and a higher state of consciousness. Now, you may doubt all of that, as I did, because we haven't seen it yet. It hadn't been done. No one's done this before just like this. And I couldn't believe all the healing that occurred because of this work, but I know that it did, and that's why I must give it to others who are willing to become their best self. So this weekend, what I'm doing is a special, because I have to move on and get more help in moving the program along, because it will change your life. And I know that it'll change the world. The reason I say it'll change the world, because see, what you put out there, it's going to be passed on. If you have kids, you'll give it to them, or just friends or anyone you're around. And so if you're operating from this higher state of consciousness, where if you've let go of all those older, lower vibrational energies that you've inherited or carried around, then you're adding something different to the world. And so eventually more people will do that, and the world looks quite different. I may not be around to see it, but I know that I'm leaving something for you, that you will be able to do that, and our world will be able to carry it on. And that's why I know the philosophy itself will change the world. It was hard for me to accept that it came through me, just like it would probably be difficult for you to fully accept the greatness that you could achieve. But I do know that it's there. The most fun for me is working with people and finding those blocks that are just in your consciousness. And because of all of this work I've been given from Wilhelm, I can see over them. You will be able to do that as well. But let me show you what this is, because I do want you to have it. There'll be a link in here. There'll be many links in this video, because I want people to have it so you can see there's so much work that I have put together in terms of small programs that you can use right now. Because all it's about is changing your consciousness. There's nothing outside of you that's having any effect on your life except your consciousness and how you choose to think about yourself and the world. And for all of us, we're always limited because we haven't done it yet. We haven't seen it. And this was weird for me, and that's the word I use, because how did I do this? But I know that I have, and I can't hold that back, because I don't want people to withhold the discovery you might make, because you will do that if you are willing to own yourself and move as far as you can into that potential that we all hear about. But this is the presentation that I'm going to show you, because I'll leave the link so you can go through it at your own speed, because there's a lot of information in here, and I wanted you to have it so that you would know that it's worth it for you. This is the weekend special. Everything you need to manifest your extraordinary life is within you, and Wilhelm has provided a blueprint for you to follow to achieve greatness. And I mean, these words that will see, they'll look like, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. And you might have heard those in other programs and from other folks, but the fact is, I've lived it. So I do know. I do know what you can accomplish. And it was, when I was talking about this the other day, I go, how did I do this? Well, it was really hard, because I had to go through all of it and documented it the entire time. But again, the most important thing for me is to know that you will understand how vital you are, because I know how important that is in the world right now. So your last development program is designed to guide you to the most important realization you will ever have. You already possess everything you need to live an extraordinary life. Now, I used to hear those words from everyone else a long time ago, all the studies that I've done over the years, and I never believed them. And now I know that they're true, because the only thing that's preventing you from seeing it is what's been in your consciousness. That's all. And then, why Wilhelm? Wilhelm's teachings within the program show you that your life matters and that you have a role in the greater unfolding of collective peace and prosperity. The methods you'll learn are practical, timeless, and deeply spiritually, offering a blueprint for success that lasts a lifetime. And when you hear things that, do you have a divine plan? Do you have all of that, all those words? I know that you do, because I've seen it, and all of this information has given me that ability. But when you read through this, you'll understand it for yourself. And then what you'll receive in your last development program, uh, video modules where I'm giving you information from Wilhelm that I've interpreted, how I've used it in my life, all that starts to come up. And then you'll start to see that you will move over your fears, your doubts. You will start to understand who you are. Every lack of confidence that you have is just because you haven't connected to your authentic self. That's all that goes on. And so down here you'll see also I put in a little just a precursor of the 90 days of assignments, because they're not showing on the site at this moment, but I want you to know what's going to be there, because it's about every aspect of your life. Then the most important thing is your connection to you. And again, when I do a Wilhelm channeling session, that's why I love doing those, because I can get different information, because I'm not being limited by your biases. And that's the other thing, when Wilhelm had me change this a while ago. So when you come to a channeling session, I don't hear your voice or know your name or any of that, because they said they didn't want to talk to your biases, because you will have generational biases about your gender, about your sex, about your ethnicity, about all those things, because they're built into you. So when I'm speaking, when I'm channeling Wilhelm, that never enters the picture, because that's a place where we're trying to get to, where we transcend those definitions and those separation, those limitations that we've placed on ourselves. You have a legacy to leave. People look at that word and goes, what does that mean? Well, you live for a certain amount of time. And when you leave this earth, you will be remembered in a particular way. Now, most people will not think about that. And we see a lot of that happening right now, where people are making actions or taking actions where they're not thinking about the consequences that are going to come later. Wilhelm has us think about it, because we know that we're important. And that's the definition of this change. When you recognize that your existence is helping to create this world, then you become much more cognizant of how you're doing it, of how you're going about it, because becoming your best self and becoming abundant and loving yourself is the most productive thing that you can do. And again, that's all about understanding the energy of individually and also collectively. Then, at the end of this program, because you will never end it, however, because you're all going to always have it, but you will know your purpose and how to live it. You'll feel confident, worthy, and capable of creating the life you desire. Understand that your life has made a difference and that your legacy will elevate the world. You'll experience a deep sense of peace, knowing that you are living the life you are always meant to have. And that does come about, even though at times when we're moving through difficulties, it's hard to know that. And as you're looking at the world, you might think that as well, but it's what was meant to happen now. And so this is the weekend special. Anyone who comes in, it's going to go through till Monday night. But if you come in, you will have a special bonus, a $300 bonus worth $300, where I will have a meeting with you. It can either be a channeling session, a private session, or coaching, or whatever it is that you might want. Because in that setting, I can always access more information, give you more direction, see through your blockages and all of that. And so, and understand, I'm doing something very different. I wanted to create something where everyone could use this. So people who come in, you own it forever. And the people who are already in are just so excited, because they know they're getting all the other stuff that's coming. And so everybody else will have that as well that come in. I have so much information. In this video, I'm going to leave a few links so that you can get a little start on it, because they're little quizzes and all of that I put in some of the information so that you can understand it. But this is what you have. You're going to always be able to come to the channeling sessions. If you're part of this group, this program, you have access to the coaching calls, because those are the most fun, where we come together, figure out what we're creating now, support ourselves, because it's heavy energies moving on, so we feel so much better. But then you will find that you go back and do it again. One of our members was so wonderful in the group yesterday. She was talking about how she had gone back to the first time, she had done it like a year ago, gone back to the first messages and saw how much she had changed, and couldn't believe what she had written the first time. Because that's what you're doing. You're just doing an investigation into you. Then, I wanted to put this here because I've had some of it, but I wanted you to understand it. I started in 1989, and it was something that was surprising to me, something I didn't trust, and something I wasn't going to tell you because it didn't make sense. How am I connecting this intelligence that is helping me, that is healing me, that is doing all of this? How is that happening? And then I resisted it. And I'm saying this because you will have done things like that in your life. And I had to have other people tell me, no, Roger, you are a pure channel. You're bringing in information that's really going to be helpful. Everyone else had to tell me that, because I was never going to do anything that was going to be about me being egoic or, using something that was going to put others down. So I held back. But now I can no longer do that. But so what happened was they started making so much more sense and understanding exactly what was going on right now. Because Wilhelm said they gave us this work to move through this particular period in the world because it was going to be challenging. And that is what we've experienced. Then, over 3 decades I've done this. And I'm telling you, I know these teachings have, what they've done for me is I know they will do for you. And some of it I get is unbelievable because I had never done it before in my life. So I know it's difficult for you to understand that. But I'm telling you, what happens is you start to become aware of who you are in such brilliant ways. Now I'm going to show you the thing that I did the other day, and the link will be in this video, because I sat down every single day, you see, and received information. It was never my intention to put it together, to even sell it. It was just not it. It was just, I'm receiving something that's so valuable. And then it became, no, this is not just for me. This was for the world. And I had to cop to that. I had to accept that, and now I will. Because I had run from it. Many people know I called myself the reluctant mystic and all of those things for years, because I was doing every other career. You may have done that. But this time, it's about self-acceptance. I don't care what it is, you were born with worth and value, and now is the time that you're meant to accept who you are, because that's going to be the most brilliant contribution that you can make, not only to yourself, but to our world. And so when you go in, you will see a document that says Wilhelm's Ascension Guide. And when you open it, there's a link there that will lead you to all the messages that started on February 19th of 1989, but beyond that. And you'll see that there is a thread of information that comes through where you're constantly being elevated to higher states of understanding yourself over the years. That's how we grow individually. That's how we grow physically, and it's also how we grow in our consciousness individually, but it's also how we evolve in our collective consciousness. But it requires more of us to own who we are, for that collective consciousness to become so much greater, so that we see a very different world and you live a very different life. So that's what this work is. I invite you to join. You will love all of it, and it's just blowing me away how the results we're receiving. But I have this idea. I said, when I was younger, I said, I'm supposed to change the world. That seemed ridiculous to me. I could never say those words, except now I can. Because the only difficulty that anyone is having is not knowing who they are, not understanding their unique path, not having the confidence to live it, and now there is a way, and everyone can do it. So take advantage of this. We're moving into this wonderful new energetic shift now, and you have the opportunity to create the life you want to have. See you soon.